Welcome to Being Reintegrated. This is Tim Wright. So I am so grateful to everyone who is buying books. We're at like a book a day, selling a book a day, and primarily on the World Soul has been just running crazy with daily sales. Sales, yeah, but basically, as y'all know, these books weren't available. So I would buy them myself. I made them, so I would have them. So thank you for contributing to the effort that I'm happy doing, making them, and you're obviously reading them, especially on the World Soul. And so recently, I came across a really cool scholarly book, which I'll show up here. It is called, let me get the right name, Universal Reform by, what's this person's name? Vladimir Karpenko, Ivo Pers, and Martin Zemla. It's an alchemist in the amphitheater of eternal wisdom. It's a commentary on Heinrich Kuhnroth, which is very cool because I did not know that this book existed. Basically, it came out last year, 2024, and it's a Brill book, so it's highly expensive. It's $250. So I'm very grateful that I was able to find that, and I'm researching it. And so while I'm reading through the material, I was so like amazed to see the academic said something that the occultist did, but the academic didn't know that the occultist did, and it existed. Of course, we're talking about Semelas and the Alchemy lectures. Now, this is just a coincidence that I happen to do red lions and white roses. Go to Kim Publishing, click on the image, and you can get a stamped edition of the Kim Publishing book. But I don't know if it's Pers or Chenko or who it really is. Pers, Karpenko, or Zemla. I don't want to go off of memory. So, I don't know who particularly wrote this portion, but it says that essentially all the symbols in the amphitheater of wisdom are coded in a way that you can't understand them, but you can only understand them through decoding them with similar symbol sets. And this is exactly what Semelas says in the alchemy lectures. He says, based on, one of these engravings, there's two pillars, and one stands for fire and one stands for water. So that's coincidental enough, but there's more. So, wait, there's more. So it goes into how the world soul is depicted in one of these Kuhnroth images. And the world soul is actually talked about as this, like, coincidentia positorum, as it's called in academia. But basically, what it is it's the unification of dichotomies and antinomies. So, in this non dualistic unified state of recognizing the dualities in each pillar, you are getting an understanding of the world soul. This is exactly what Schelling said in the book that seems to be more popular than the ones that I thought would be popular, which are the books about La Chose. Willermo's going through the somnambulism, La Chose, and everything. But it seems that that is not the most popular book. That's not the one that our readers want to read the most about. What's actually going through the roof as far as expectations, meeting and exceeding expectations, is the Schelling book. The German Schelling book on the world soul is selling like crazy. It's like a copy a day, basically, give or take an average of a copy a day. Now, that's pretty good for a niche market. So good on you guys for reading and procuring that material. Because what it talks about is in this book, Heinrich Kuhnroth And I also found that there's another book completely in English by Heinrich Hohenrath that we haven't found, that no one has studied except for these geniuses at Brill. So I'm very, very happy to have this material. I've ever since introduced to Semelas' view of Hohenrath, I've been wondering where the rest of this material was. And we saw a little bit of it in Sulikowski, but now we're seeing a lot more of it through Schmidt, Bigman, through these authors of this 650-page Brill book, and then also through Forshaw. Peter Forshaw is doing a 4-volume series of interpretation to Hohenrath, and it's a Brill book too. And those are like $350 a pop, so they're not cheap. So the fact that we're only doing these monumental translations, I mean, I could kick up the price and everything. I won't. But this paperback edition that we're making available, you know, if an academic got a hold of this and started giving you some footnotes, you could be charging upwards of $100, $200 for a critical edition. Now, granted, they have more skills than I do, but you know, that's just what we're looking at right now. And so what was cool to find out is that On the World Soul is actually talked about in this book, Universal Reform. The World Soul is talked about as the Shamayim. So the watery fire and the fiery water is talked about. And they say, this is the cool part, that he borrowed the concept of the world soul by Agrippa of Nedensheim. So we know that Agrippa was actually used by the Elukoan, and they were familiar with Agrippa. And some of my brother Paul Edward Rana's videos, he talked about how he went down to England, and Agrippa was not considered a fringe occultist. He was considered a philosopher, a doctor. He was considered a scientist. So this was at a time where there was a suspension of belief in the scientifically rational. Why am I talking about all this? Because that's exactly what this Hohenrath book is about. As they go through the different categories of scholasticism and scholarly exegesis in Hohenrath, which primarily it's a commentary on this new book called Von Heiligschen Chaos. And, you know, I don't know how to say it right, but it's Hylealischen. So I think that's Heiligschen Chaos. So it's on the chaos of the cosmos. Now this ties in directly to Robert Flood, and the beginning of what Semelas expounded. Now, I don't know. Here's what the cool part is. I don't know if Semelas and Hohenrath were actually from the same society. But what we're seeing is in Semelas, he starts talking about chaos in the Alchemy book. I can give you a page number. I didn't really have that prepared. But it is basically in the Semelas book, we're seeing that this tradition that Hohenrath is talking about, and that the scholars are saying that Hohenrath was definitely teaching from, which comes from all of the amphitheater traditions that are in Rome, and there's a lot that Peter Forshaw gives in relationship to this material. So we're really lucky to have these kind of alchemical exegesis of the material, you know, and you guys are picking it right up. I don't know why it's so popular. I did it just so we would have reference to Bader's commentary, which is in that book. For the first time, Schelling and Bader are translated and put together in the On the World Soul book. But what's interesting is this quote by Agrippa that they're talking about is in there. So I'm very, very happy that we were able to get a good nudge, basically, and to go there. So let's go here to the Alchemy book. I'm trying to find it because I mean I have so many books here, the PDFs. There's just so many. Oh, it's a Semelas book. That's right. Let's go to Semelas, and then let me see here, because what he talks about is like a chaos. I'm looking it up right now. He talks about from chaos to oblivion, in the Lily and the Eagle. Oh, well, that's one of the books that my friend Milko Bogard did. But there's the circle has no beginning and no end. The first idea that comes to mind of one who contemplates it is to attribute it to the symbol of unity and eternity, and more materially in alchemy, the symbol of chaos, the reunion of all without any form. In this case, the circle expresses inert matter, which through the work of the alchemist must become sufficiently evolved in order to be made animate matter, polarized, androgynous, and possessing within it the active and passive qualities that are necessary for life. So this is in the alchemy lecture in part 1, he talks about chaos. Now, Semelas mentions chaos multiple times in this book. What is chaos? Chaos is unformed, disunited matter composed of the diverse states of Hyle. It's Hule in the Gnostic tradition. But the fact that there's an untranslated book that Semelas probably didn't have access to in Latin, which is the von Heiligstein Chaos, is profound. I think that he's talking about the chaos within matter. So it's really interesting to see all this material finally come about. Now I bought the Chaos book by Kunrath. I don't even know what it's called. The material chaos or whatever. But I bought that book and it's on its way from Amazon, so I'll be doing more of a study with that, because both Forshaw and these Russian or Europeans are talking about this Chaos book. Pretty amazing stuff, but in relationship to it, they're talking about Agrippa von Nettensheim. So let's go to Agrippa. It's so cool that we have all this material, because it's really hard to actually start to pin down all this stuff. So I'm using the Donald Tyson version of Agrippa, and I'm very happy to be able to look this up. It's in the 14th chapter. Let me just grab the physical book because the PDF is a little bit crazy. There we go, physical book. The 3 books of occult philosophy. And I believe they said chapter 1, chapter 114 or something. 14th chapter of book 1. So we will go to the 14th chapter of book 1. It's really cool because we're getting to discover this material ourselves for the very first time. I haven't even read this. So, I mean, this is like, it's not like a reveal, but it's definitely something that hasn't been read before in this context. It's called Of the Spirit of the World, What It Is, and How, a way of medium, it unites occult virtues to their subjects. Now, something you should know is Saint-Martin calls virtues these Boma properties. In the Letters of Kirchberger, he talks about virtues being the specific German word, which I found like hundreds of times in the collected works of Bader. So the virtues are basically what they're saying the world soul produces. Not the individual virtues, but the virtues of the world soul, which are talked about in this way. The notes say that there's well, it's only one page. So it talks about Pythagoreans, it talks about the world soul. So you see here we have an introduction to it, but the scholars, the alchemical scholars, didn't even know that there was a German book by Schelling that was on the world soul. It was completely on the world soul. So this is based on a Pythagorean understanding of two forces that come together, and when there's two forces that come together, there's an effect, and that effect is talked about over and over in the world soul. I believe most of it got taken away from German. In my introductory, it talks about a little bit of that material, but it's very profound that we have this this book, and then, like I said, we have Bader's commentary on it. So, the hypothesis of higher physics for explaining the general organism. Prefaces relationships between the real and its ideal in nature. Now, they talk about this, that the virtue is the manifestation of the world soul. So there is a form, and then there's the energy that's in the form, which it's talked about as love. So there's some profound metaphysics behind all this stuff. And I was just really happy that I found this book. Now, I will be going through this book and studying it and trying to explain a little bit more of Semelas' Alchemy book, which is a limited edition Kim Publishing book. Go there, grab it. It's on PayPal. Shipping is included if it's U.S. If it's domestic, I'll just ship it to you. And then if it's not, then there'll be an additional shipping charge. You'll get an email separately asking you to send an additional amount for shipping, because international shipping is extreme right now. But anyway, so that book is amazing. I can't wait to start sending it to you all. It looks like everybody's on board with the studies in German Illuminism from Schelling. So I'm very happy to see how many copies of the On the World Soul are selling. So hopefully we can get to a volume where these stay low. I don't want to have to raise prices to meet demand and everything. So keep up the great work, everyone. I just wanted to keep talking about this tradition and why this book in particular is so special, because it to be continued. I'll give you more information on the World Soul and Kunrath, but it's just so cool that we're seeing some of these insights from these scholars. So good on them. And because we're doing these videos, you don't have to pay, $1,500 for this series of alchemical studies. Thanks a lot.